Others bring mythical creatures to class as their protectors. While my protector beast is a fox spirit. She was originally the ancient demon king sealed away, but I accidentally summoned her, and hastily formed a master-servant contract while her power was still unstable. After she woke up, she found that the celestial root in my body could help her restore her true cultivation, so she agreed to become my lifelong guardian beast. In this world, cultivators all have a guardian beast as their lifelong guardian. The bloodline of the guardian beast determines the height of the cultivator's limits. Some people have the bloodline of the ancient dragon race. The qualifications of ordinary practitioners are just some commonly seen bloodlines of beasts. Because of my low qualifications, I have not yet obtained a guardian beast until now, so I am often ridiculed by my fellow disciples, but because I am quick-witted and sharp-tongued, I often leave them speechless. But then I remembered that tomorrow is the qualification assessment. They thought I would definitely be expelled from the academy. Without wasting any more words, I threw a hornet's nest at them. This completely provoked them. Along with the leader's shouted command, the little followers summoned the guardian monsters for me. I remain calm and take out 2 talismans from my pocket, and throw them towards the monsters. The talismans ignite as they approach the monsters, followed by a violent explosion behind them, and the next second, they miraculously burst out of the fireball unscathed. In a moment of desperation, I could only climb up a tree, but before I could even catch my breath, a giant green snake appeared above my head. I was so scared that I slipped and fell towards the cliff. They made their way through difficult terrain until they finally reached a cave under the cliff and stopped. When the group was chased to the edge of the cliff, a swarm of black jade bees flew towards them. A single sting from these bees could be fatal. However, the leader was skilled in advanced magic, easily solved the bee swarm. Finally, feeling overwhelmed by the abundance of high-level monsters in the deep mountains, I thought I couldn't survive and decided to leave. As I was about to roll off the cliff, my arms were covered in blood. It was then that I noticed an ancient mirror beside me and I wanted to pick it up to take a look, but as my blood touched the surface of the mirror, sudden burst of towering red light from the mirror. Then slowly, an arm reaches out from within, followed by the entire body flying out from the mirror. Upon emerging, it says it has been sleeping for a long time and is now very hungry, and it even thought I was a sacrifice. Although it doesn't look like much, let's start by blocking the gap in my teeth. After saying that, he pounced towards me, but when he flew into the air, he felt dizzy and disoriented. Finally, due to exhaustion from hunger, he fell on top of me. There must be a demon when things go awry. I must be firm in my resolve. Just as I was about to move her, I discovered she had 2 ears on her head. I was astonished to find out she was a human-shaped spirit beast. According to the book, only powerful demons can manifest in human form. I was so scared that I almost peed my pants. But then I realized that this is a sealed demon. It must be weak after being sealed for so long. Why not take this opportunity to make a contract with her? Though it seems a bit like taking advantage of the demon's weakness, there's no other way. After solemnly paying her respects, I began to perform the ritual to bind our souls, binding your soul with my blood, sharing a deep connection in life and death. The final step is to feed her my blood. I've been waiting for a long time, but there's still no response. As expected, it's still not working. I can't even contract with a small insect, but I still delude myself into contracting with the great demon. But at this moment, her body emits a blood-red mist. In a second, it slowly rises into the air, and the blood-red mist starts to attack me. Then they all surged into my body. In my mind, the image of this great demon appeared to resemble a god of war. After a moment, a mark representing a successful contract appeared on her forehead. I saw the situation was not good, and was about to slip away. She also noticed something unusual, and instantly became furious. Do you know who I am? How dare you force a contract with me, and then throw me several meters away? But as I hit the rock wall, I spit out blood. She also suffered the same injury. If a human dies during the contract period, the monster cannot survive. She was so angry that she rushed up to me and captured me again. But when she thought about it, even in her weakest state, she shouldn't have been sealed by an ordinary human with just a drop of blood. So, she began to cast spells to probe my body. She found that my aptitude was so poor that I hadn't even opened up the way to cultivate chi. To make a contract, one must at least be capable of reaching the great Luo immortal realm. Suddenly, a beam of golden light shot towards her, causing her to narrow her eyes. After a while, she dared to look up. It was actually the heaven's spiritual root, but my spiritual veins were so weak that they could not even operate 1/10 of a thousandth. This kind of spiritual blood is a great tonic for her. If I strengthen my spiritual power through training, she will be able to quickly recover to her peak state. In that case, she agreed to become my true protector demon beast. But there are 3 conditions. The first condition is that she has to suck my blood every night. No problem, as long as it doesn't affect my cultivation the next day. I'll tell you the other 2 conditions when I think of them. I have always been a waste unable to cultivate. As long as I can cultivate, I agree to all 30 conditions. The fox demon turned around and asked me, is cultivating immortality really that important? I firmly told her that I want to become a great golden immortal in the future. After introducing myself to her, she said her name is Xiaojio, a fox demon. The next day, along with the sound of a bell ringing, the qualification assessment of the academy also began. The first to appear was the group that besieged me yesterday. Leading them was the only son of the Lingxi family. As soon as he took the stage, he directly summoned his totem protector, eliciting admiration from the audience. As he confidently transmitted his skills into the clock also displayed his current stage of cultivation. The late foundation establishment stage is something others can only achieve in 3 years. Immediately after, his contracted spirit launched forward with full force, and the clock showed the rank and bloodline of the spirit beast. After the elder saw the outstanding ancient bloodline, he decided to cultivate it carefully. Soon, the other colleges successively took the stage for testing. It's almost coming to an end, and they still haven't seen my figure. Shinirong couldn't help but start to worry. At this time, her pursuer came over to show concern. His disciple's cute appearance caused a stir among the female disciples. But Shinirong didn't give him a good face. Before he went on stage, he even threw a flirtatious glance. So you like this kind of thing? Moving closer, I asked her who she liked. She turned around and realized it was me. Reminded me that if I couldn't pass the assessment today, I would be expelled from the academy. Then she asked me who Xiaojio was and why he was with me. I didn't expect Xiaojio to directly hold on to me and say she is my protective beast. Chinure roared at her to let go of me. Even if you can't summon a beast, you don't need to just find a woman to stand in with such rough tail and ears. Even if you fool the master, you can't fool the Tianling bell. Even if you use such a clumsy method, you don't need to be so intimate. At this time, a person on the stage touched the unresponsive bell and wept bitterly, claiming their Tiamao pig is a divine guardian beast. Is just a lowly attempt to pass off domestic livestock as a trickster. The heavenly spirit bell only reveals the grade to true practitioners with a contract. Now it's my turn to step in. The people from before saw me alive and with a beautiful woman. Xiaojio asked if she can eat those annoying guys. I quickly reminded her of our agreement to keep a low profile outside. I respectfully bowed to Master when I got on the stage. Master asked where my guardian beast was. When he saw it was a human-shaped beast, Master was greatly surprised. Whether I can continue to cultivate depends on this moment. As I place my hand on the Tianling bell, my initial cultivation stage quickly appears on it. Xiaojio asked if I should tap the bell. And after I confirmed, she lightly poked the Tianling bell with her pinky finger. The elders in the audience were incredulous, and stood up one after another. The clock erupted with an overwhelming momentum, manifesting an extraordinary ancient bloodline. And I, this waste, can continue to stay in the academy for cultivation. Today's topic is about combating demonic beasts and cultivation. Everyone also brings their own guardian beasts to class with their real names. The beasts are very pure. As long as you are sincere, they will definitely become companions. If your heart is not sincere enough, you will suffer backlashes. Xiaojio took the opportunity to pretend to throw herself into my arms, while Zhouyi-chen, who had been in the limelight, looked at Xiao slyly. I suddenly felt that my ancient bloodline of Xiong was not fragrant. Xiaojio took the opportunity to say she was dizzy and wanted my blood to heal. Xinirong behind me couldn't stand it anymore. She stood up and loudly stopped Xiaojio's actions. But she forgot that this was above the classroom. It is allowed to enhance the relationship with one's own guardian demon beast. But being naughty will result in punishment by the teacher. After class, seeing Xiaojio looking listless, I let her rest in my room. Having been sealed for over 3,000 years, she didn't want to be alone again. She said she would feel much better if she could have some spirit blood now. And this scene happened to be seen by Chinurong, who was waiting here. Don't you know that humanoid monsters will bring disasters? And you're still so welcoming in the academy. Just now, your teacher said that humans should cultivate alongside monsters. As a master's monster, I naturally need to engage in everything together. Not to mention, neither the deans nor the master said anything. This has really made her very angry. Since this is the case, I can only do this. He raised his hand and threw an envelope to me. This is the college's rules. If disciples have a conflict, it can be resolved through a fair duel. Xinirong's condition is that if she wins, Xiaojio can only stay at home. So, the loser must obey the winner, right? And Kyo, at that time, you can't stick to Lin Chunjing so openly. Hearing this, Xiaojio readily agreed. As a condition, if we win, you must unconditionally obey the master. Upon hearing this, Chinurong started to whine on the side. Xiaojio felt that she was so innocent, and Chinurong's guardian beast tried to persuade her not to. What are you afraid of? In the foundation establishment stage, I can't beat him. Who's in the chi refining stage? She readily agreed to Xiaojio's request. The next moment, her aura expanded greatly. Harnessing the power of the guardian beast, she summoned the wings of wind. Jio also secretly marveled at how she could control such high-level wind magic at such a young age. Xiao Jio, step aside. My defensive charm may not hold up. Qin Yurong didn't give me a chance to react. 2 whirlwinds poured down from the sky. Watching the wide range of explosions, she felt that even with the protection of the spirit beast, I would not be able to. But as the smoke cleared, a figure appeared. She couldn't help but be shocked. Xiao Jio is not only unharmed, not even a speck of dust on her. I saw Xiao Jio take a step forward, surrounded by fluorescence, and instantly release the pressure of her 9-tailed fox. Qin Yurong and her guardian beast were so scared that they couldn't move. The fox spirit excels at beguiling the minds of people. Moreover, as the demon king, Xiao Jio is particularly adept at the art of enchantment. With just one glance, Qin Yurong was ensnared in her own desire's dreamland. There, she could immerse herself and truly experience it. This would cause her body to disconnect from the outside world. At this moment, she must be tossing and turning in her dream, acting out a successive battle. But I'm still worried. Let Xiaojia wake her up quickly. She's fine and happy now. As her body twitches, Qin Yurong wakes up from her dream. She immediately checked her clothes and found that they were all there. I stepped forward to remind her that the duel was won by me. I'm willing to accept any request from you in this gamble. You can make any excessive demands. Xiao Jio also came forward to join in the fun, giving me the opportunity to seize it, I just said to her. She couldn't wait to agree. Who knew that my next words were to make her get along well with Xiaojio? After hearing that, both of them were shocked. At that time, Qin Yurong strongly opposed it. I remind her again to keep her promise. Xiao Jio quickly regained her burning expression and agreed. She also proactively reached out her hand. Qin Yurong, upon seeing this, thought to herself that she could not give up. Both of them then agreed at the same time to get along well. We're all good friends, so why don't we resolve this issue? After a busy day, I brought Xiaoku back to the dorm. As soon as I entered, I sat down on the bed. I was about to take a good rest. Then Xiaoku placed her hand next to me. Then the whole person climbed onto me. And also showed a very tired look. Your body is too weak, you can't even beat an opponent like Qin Yurong. How can you protect me in the future? I will work hard to make myself stronger. Relying solely on yourself and those few weakling instructors is too slow. Why not let me teach you? But before that, I need to supplement the consumption during the previous duel. I know no one likes to see the following scene. So I've decided to skip it and move it to the next episode, and also promised to teach me cultivation from now on. But I have been working hard for so many years and have not made any progress. They all say that I am a waste with no spiritual roots and cannot cultivate. Xiao Jio said that my body has a rare spirit root in the world. But due to weak meridians, I cannot release spiritual power and cannot cultivate. Those low-level demons cannot bear the bond with you and would perish in an explosion. Your blood is the best nourishment for a great demon like me. And haven't you noticed the improvement in your cultivation after our contract? That's because our union is not just feeding me with your blood. My spiritual energy is nurturing you, and helping you cultivate is also for my own benefit. Is our dual cultivation perfect for meeting each other's needs? Everything came so suddenly without giving myself any preparation. Xiao Jio directly and rudely tore off my clothes, and then started a 2.5-hour-long practice on me. Doing push-ups continuously for such a long time, I can hardly hold on. Xiao Jio said that if I, with a weak body, were to arouse my spiritual energy at this time, I would instantly turn into a pile of ashes. Just as she finished speaking, she fell from my back. I'm also too tired to get up. I started to feel drowsy and inattentive. Before falling asleep, I told Xiaojio that I must become a great Luo Jingxian. After hearing this, she was stunned. She recalled the affair with that man several years ago. They watched as mortals could cultivate immortality, all beings coexisting. The man said he wanted her to see that everyone could become a great being. Then, she couldn't help but hug me, and passed a hint of spiritual energy into my body. Finally, falling into a deep sleep. The next day, little Kalamu crouched on the path I took to school, ready to have his guardian demon beast attack me after I passed by. Because the abilities of ordinary demon beasts are limited by their master's highest cultivation, he believed that even if Little Nine had the ancient bloodline strength, it would be suppressed, and told his guardian demon beast to go easy on me. He wants me to release the covenant I made with Xiaojio. As I walk to school, I feel a spiritual energy circulating in my body. But looking at Xiaojio's calm expression, I also feel a little confused, because this morning when I woke up, I saw her crying, just as I was about to ask her what was wrong. Suddenly, a monster appeared and ran towards us, and it kept accelerating. Xiaojio disdainfully looked at it while casting a spell, but she didn't expect me to step in front of her in one swift move. She didn't know when she had arrived in front of me. facing the imposing Lingxi, just gently lifting his hand to make a head-popping motion. The next second it hit Lingwei directly, causing it to spiral into the sky. Xiao Jiu acted as if nothing had happened, but it scared the ambushers in the dark. I was also shocked silly at the same time. A superior level monster can be defeated with just one finger. Just how strong is Xiao Jiu's power? The next day, the teacher who taught the formation method came to class. I reminded Xiao Jiu to keep a low profile outside. Xiao Jiu said that if she didn't intervene, it would have been me who got knocked over. That shut me up. When I looked up again, all the men in the classroom were looking at Xiao Jiu. I told Xiao Jiu not to do anything too outrageous in the future. Got it, I won't interfere with anything from now on. After saying that, he slammed the table hard. This move made other students nosebleed directly. It's really hard to be low-key and not attract attention. At this time, the teacher called me to come up and do some homework. I was just talking to Xiao Jiu, and I didn't listen to the class at all. I can only brace myself for it now. Don't be nervous, just follow the teacher's demonstration. Luckily, I have studied formation books before. I know that low-level cultivators need to use glutinous rice and cinnabar as mediums to activate formations. In no time, a wind formation for the superior stage had been set up. Then he began to recite the spell he had learned from the book. But after finishing, there was no change in the magic circle at all. Sure enough, no matter how well I learned, I couldn't use spiritual power. It was all useless. The audience began to ridicule me. When Qingyurong heard this, she angrily stopped them. At that moment, a cool breeze blew from the array formation, followed by a small whirlwind rising in place, almost blowing away the person who had just badmouthed me. After seeing it, the teacher praised me even more. Little Nine in the audience was the secret mastermind behind all of this. After school, just as Xiao Jiu and I were about to go home, Qingyurong stopped us. She said that there is a strange woman causing trouble in the school, and she sent the Lingxi of the Jin family flying. Do you know how much trouble your fox spirit has caused? I hurriedly explained that Xiao Jiu was just trying to save herself. The husband is innocent, and should not have to suffer for the faults of the wife. If you, without family background or cultivation, possess an ancient monster, it will only bring disaster, not blessings. Why don't you sell Xiao Jiu to me? With my family background, I can also ensure your safety. I just said he's delusional. And I was interrupted by a master called over by the people who had previously ambushed me. Let's see who can ensure his safety today. He said I had Xiao Jiu use her hand to injure his Lingxi. The next second, the giant rhinoceros behind him stepped on his foot. Even Zhou Chen, who possesses ancient bloodlines, was frightened and took 2 steps back. This person has heard that I am notorious for being trash, and he also emphasized that he is in the foundation building stage. Zhou Chen and Qingyurong were shocked after hearing about the engagement period. It was your cousin who released the demon beast to attack us first, and we only retaliated. It turns out that the Jin family is just a bunch of cowards relying on powerful demon beasts. You, this woman, have the guts to say it again. Without your demon beast you are nothing. Xiao Kalami has never been treated like this before and was about to attack, but was stopped by his cousin De Kalami. Even if you have ancient bloodlines, you will still be suppressed by such a waste. Only by following a powerful master can you get everything you want. Is it you, this wet behind there's Kalami? Dakarumi thinks using soft tactics won't work, so he wants to use hard ones. This is the Lingle Shishir, whose level is hundreds of times that of Lingxi. Qingyurong reminded the academy not to allow high-level cultivators to bully low-level cultivators. But Dakarumi relies on the backing of his family, and doesn't play fair. If you kneel down now, beg me, and hand over this woman, I will spare your life. Don't daydream. Even in death, I won't give Xiao Jiu to you. No sooner had she finished speaking than his Thunder Qilin attacked me. At this moment, Xiao Jiu suddenly embraced me from behind, whispering in my ear to let her use the formation she had always been taught in class. Now that it has come to this, I have no choice but to bite the bullet and proceed. I displayed the profound ice spell as taught by my teacher in class. Just when the Thunder Spirit Rhino was only 2.5 centimeters away from me, Xiao Jiu softly uttered the command to form the array. This massive monster was instantly frozen by the array and couldn't move. Due to the dry contract, if the monster is injured, it will also harm its master. I looked at the frozen thundering rhino beast up ahead. I can't believe I did all of this. Jiu said that I could release such a formation. It seems that my cultivation has reached the Zichu stage. Qingyurong, seeing that I won, began to mock them mercilessly. Kaler Mimi at this time began to say that the academy cannot fight. Then he prepared to go back with Dakalami and ask for help, but was stopped by Dakalami's words. If you lose because of inferior skills, then you lose. In the end, he even bowed to us and apologized. Your attitude towards admitting mistakes is not bad, so I won't complain to the dean about you. Xiao Kalami secretly vowed to make me look good in the future. Fan Chiu quickly stepped forward to offer his attentiveness from a distance. He also said that he could use his family's influence to be my backer. The several thousand-year-old Xiaojio just looked on casually. Qingyurong then came up and said that this time it was just luck, and next time it might not be so easy. He said that every time Xiaojiohui comes, he will be in danger. How come there is only one bed in my room? Although he is a guardian demon, he is still a girl's body. Do you guys sleep in the same bed every day? I hurriedly explained to her that I sleep on the floor. Qingyurong is not happy about why she is asked to sleep in the bed. Zhou Yichen kindly said there are more beds in his room and asked Shizhou to sleep there. I saw that it was getting late, so I sent them both away first. When she didn't want to leave, I gently escorted her out, and after things calmed down, take a deep breath. When I turned around and asked Xiaojio if she was the one who used the Xianbing curse today, because I remember feeling full of energy after you hugged me. Xiaojio firmly told me that it was something I did myself. She said that I already had a spiritual root, and she just helped expand my meridians, so that I could release only 1/10,000th of the energy from the spiritual root. And you have been studying the formation knowledge diligently as usual. It's a pity that the spiritual energy in the world now is far different from 3,000 years ago. Back then, the spiritual energy was abundant, allowing all races to grow freely. Now, the demon clan has degenerated into the pets of humans since I woke up. At that moment, it suddenly occurred to me. I remember there's a historical book that records the history from 3,000 years ago. At that time, a great demon wreaked havoc, leading to chaos in the dynasty, and the emperor at that time allowed the demon clan to cause chaos. To save the sentient beings, the heavenly gods helped humans overthrow the emperor and killed the great demon. The battle lasted for 9 days and nights, and the demon clan was subdued. The heavenly gods, out of benevolence, could not bear to see the demon clan perish. Punishing the demon clan, they were deprived of most of their cultivation and turned into human servants. Upon hearing this, Xiaojio trembled all over. She recalled her own painful memories. He knocked the book out of my hand, filled with nonsense and gibberish. She sobbed while saying that the true history was not like this at all. I quickly patted her head and started to comfort Xiaojio. I guessed that Xiaojio might be the great demon mentioned in the book. The next morning arrived. As I came out, I couldn't help but sigh at how fiercely Xiaojio had bitten me last night. At that moment, the teacher who was teaching me formations called out to me from behind. He said the principal wanted to see me. I wondered if it was because Qingyurong had gone to the principal to complain that Xiaojio and I slept on the same bed. The next day, the principal called me into his room. He said that this year's chief disciple would be selected from among the 3 of us. The woman next to Zhang is also a remarkable student named Zhou Ming. She said that if she could become the chief disciple, she would be close to the great Luo Golden Immortal. If she could bring back the immortal spirit stone from the immortal forest, she would become the chief disciple. The 3 of us were ordered to bow and then went to the immortal forest. After arriving at the secret realm, we found that Zhou Yichen had been waiting there. He is the eldest legitimate son of the Zhou family, and the older brother of Zhou Mingming. He wants to fight for the position of the chief disciple in playing the zither. His talent is not bad, but he has failed many subjects. The dean reluctantly let him pass. There is only one fairy spirit stone in this secret realm, and no one else can find it except me, because his guardian beast is the ancient bloodline Pishio. I am very sensitive to the smell of all kinds of treasures in the world. Okay, if you want to follow, then follow. Don't be a nuisance. Zhou Yichen secretly laughed at himself for not wanting to be a hanger-on. He wanted to slip away quickly. But if I remember correctly, this is the gather area for plant demon beasts. I have something to say, but I don't know if I should say it or not. Just as I finished speaking, I heard a scream from Zhou Zhongchen. Ding Qing saw that he was already entangled by a man-eating tree. Fortunately, a stone thrown from a distance helped him to relieve the situation. Zhou Mingming clapped her hands and asked us to leave first, and save her foolish brother. This elder brother has really made you worry. Saying this, she went forward to battle with the man-eating tree. The 3 of us continued on our journey and found a cave. This is the boundary of the secret realm. The spirit stone must be hidden here. Qingyurong said she felt a strong spiritual power fluctuation in the cave. If you're afraid, you can stay here. Xiaojio and I will go in. The brave one decided to go with us into the depths of the cave. As we walked, suddenly an unknown liquid dropped onto her nose, and it carried a foul smell. When she looked up, she discovered numerous pairs of eyes staring at the ground. With her scream, countless bats flew out of the cave. Xiaojio, who had lived for thousands of years, stood there calmly. After the bats had flown out of the cave, I hurried to help Qingyurong up and comfort her. Xiaojio said fortunately, the loud noise didn't wake up the big one inside. Qingyurong heard that there was an even larger one, and urged us to hurry up and leave. As the Dryad Demon King, Xiaojio sensed a powerful pressure deep in the cave. When we reached the end of the cave, Xiaojio said the source of the pressure was right there. We saw a gem embedded on a stone pillar in front, and a demon beast chained beneath it. I read in a book before that this is a monster pot with a top-notch ancient bloodline. Its fur is as hard as iron and it can breathe fire. I never thought the Academy would keep such a dangerous monster here. But behind it is embedded with the Spirit Stone. This is going to be difficult. Shinjuron claimed that she could sneak in and steal it while it is sleeping. Didn't expect this girl to learn invisibility spell. She took out a talisman from her chest. I spent a lot of money to obtain this celestial stone. After that, she started chanting to activate the talisman. After finishing the incantation, she stuck the talisman to her forehead. The next second, she indeed disappeared before my eyes. However, her clothes were still exposed. I hurriedly reminded her that the invisibility talisman only hides the person, not the clothes. Shinjuron wondered what to do. Should she undress in front of me? I told her that if it didn't work, I would let Xiaojio go up and finish it off. This completely overturned her jealousy. I've made up my mind not to lose to that arsonist fox. I'm invisible now and others can't see me anyway. I'll put on the stone after I get it. As I thought of this, I began to take off my clothes one by one, until I was completely naked. Then she asked me if I could still see myself. I told her there was still a hairpin on my head. As I dropped the hairpin, she uttered harsh words. Once I get the fairy spirit stone, the position of the chief disciple will definitely be mine. Having said that, he quietly went to steal the fairy spirit stone. What they didn't know was that Hudo also had a very keen sense of smell. Although Shinjuron was hiding, being in such close contact still made her feel scared. At this point, if I don't do anything, the fairy spirit stone will be snatched by Shinjuron. We must figure out a way. Only by obtaining the fairy spirit stone can the chief disciple obtain more resources. I asked Xiaojio if she can still use the Xianbing spell she used before. Jiu told me that it's not possible because that day she helped me rapidly release the energy inside my body. To deal with a monster like Guido, the spiritual energy is simply not enough. But I can transfer some spiritual energy to you by mouth to mouth. At this point, Shinjuron has already approached the stone pillar, but the surface temperature here is hot under the influence of the disaster. Her body odor was quickly sniffed by the pot. She stood up and took a deep breath in a second. Then she sniffed around her again. This time she was sure that someone had trespassed into her territory. She opened her mouth wide and began to gather spiritual energy. At this moment, Shinjuron was too close to the dry and couldn't dodge in time. As the crisis approached, I hurriedly asked Xiaojio to transfer me some spiritual power, and used Xian again. When facing this monstrous beast, the powerful Xianbing curse could not hold on for long. At that moment, I couldn't find Shinjuron, so I yelled at her to stay away from the monster, but she was still fixated on the spiritual stone behind the beast. In the next second, the monster began to gather energy in its mouth once again. It directly broke the seal formed by the Xianbing curse. She was so scared that she crouched in the corner, and exclaimed in shock. When I heard it, I shouted at the monster to attract it. The monster was furious with its eyes turning red. Hearing my shout, it locked its gaze on me, and kept spitting out flames from its mouth. I quickly turned around and asked Xiaojio if the chain was secure. Even if it's chained up, once it's engulfed by the flames of this fierce cauldron, it will still be reduced to ashes. At this moment, the cauldron is once again accumulating spiritual power in its mouth. I see no chance of escape and can only take a desperate gamble. In an instant, the calamity's intense heat was being released towards me. I harnessed the last of my spiritual power, transmitted by Xiaojio, to release the deep ice. Fortunately, this deep ice spell is a high-level technique, allowing me to temporarily withstand the extreme heat. It's time! Yes. At that instant, I felt the strong pressure brought by Xiaojio. But soon, that powerful salty pressure was suppressed back into the body by Xiaojio, immediately followed by the release of the enchanting technique, revolving repeatedly. From the hand, several pink lights sprang forth, all flying toward the face of the adversary. Next moment, the area of the Guido station was hit and exploded. At this time, Shinjuron had already run behind Xianling Stone, and was trying to look into the smoke. She found that Guido was already hit by the enchanted wood, and was now doing something unspeakable in his own illusion. I turned around and praised Xiaojio. He's really awesome. Just a little ill-tempered dog, let it sleep a little longer. Is enough for us to get the fairy spirit stone. But I was about to say that the fairy spirit stone has been preempted by Chen Wangrong, and she hasn't noticed that the invisibility symbol on her head has fallen off. She holds the spirit stone saying this should be mine. I stared blankly at the scene in front of me. Xiaojio exclaimed, not bad. Shinjuron looked puzzled. The spirit stone was no longer in her hand. Why are they still staring at me? When she looked down and saw the invisibility symbol on the ground, everything became clear. She punched me in the face, even more handsome than Wu Yanzhu, and then the elixir stone fell to the ground. The next moment, it was grabbed by a claw. Ding Qing took a look and saw it was a bat, turned around and flew out of the cave. Zhou Yichen outside the cave saw an unidentified object flying out of the cave and collided with it directly. The fairy stone also fell into Zhou Mingming's hands. At that time, she also searched hard with a look of distress and could not find it, unexpectedly falling from the sky. With the spirit stone, she became the chief disciple. Last week Yurchin kept bragging about how he defeated the monster and got something for us. We don't want to listen to his babbling. Suddenly, a dark shadow passed over the heads of the crowd. Some people quickly recognized that it was someone from the Kunxian sect. It is said that the leading golden sunbird is one of the 4 divine-level monsters in the academy. Its handler, Senior Xiaolan, has caught the eye of the Royal Yutian department. Thinking that being selected by the Luncian Alliance is something special, she's flaunting it everywhere. Zhou Yichen thinks she's just jealous. He said he could use his family's influence to get her to join the Kunxian sect. But they were rejected by Qin Yurong, saying they are a children's gang. Xiao Jiu came forward and asked me what the Kunxian sect was. The Kunxian sect is a small organization spontaneously formed by disciples of the academy, but behind it is the most famous Kunlun Immortal Alliance in the Jiuyu continent. Children from the Jiuyu continent will all enter the academy to follow their mentors for cultivation. After rising to Shobin Academy, students can choose to stay in the academy or go to serve the royal family or a martial arts sect. Some sects would preemptively scout for talents in various academies. The Jin Lei who attacked us before is a member of the Kunxian sect. At this point, Xiao Jiu said I should join the Kunxian sect. I know that my cultivation level is far behind others. Xiao Jiu then stuffed a handful of cookies she had eaten into my mouth. If you can do it, then I can definitely do it. Qin Yurong, who was nearby, clenched her teeth in jealousy when she saw this. Then she insisted that I eat another piece of the cookie she had eaten. The scene shifts to the territory of the Kunxian sect. At this moment, Jin Lei's cousin is kicked in the abdomen by someone. Despite being a Jiedun stage cultivator, he was defeated by a Qi refining stage cultivator. Senior sister believes that this is bringing shame to the Kunxian sect. In a rush to explain, it stated that it was their fellow junior brothers and sisters letting their guard down that led to their exploitation. I really don't know what means the Jin family used to get you into the Kunxian school. This will definitely provoke him. You were the youngest Jiedun disciple, but it was you who begged us to come. What nonsense, the Kunxian school is just a place for women and children to play house. He relies on the support of the Jin family to insult Xia Gang. Xiao Lan directly stood up and grabbed his fingers. Don't think that just because Jia gave you support, I wouldn't dare to do anything to you. Be careful how you speak in the future, or else I'll have you expelled. With those words, she heavily kicked him in the abdomen, and mocked that the Kunxian faction wasn't a place where any riffraff could get in. In the future, disciples from the Tongxing Academy must be inspected by me one by one, and she also started to pay attention to me. Those who can defeat the Jin family out of their level want to see how capable I really am. Others bring birds and beasts to class, while I brought a fox spirit. At this time, a messenger crow flew into the room in front of me. Both Xiaoku and I were surprised to see the letter. It turned out to be Jin Xian, who had previously had a grudge against me, asking for help. Xiuku, looking displeased, told me not to deal with him, but I wanted to go see what he wanted. During the break, I met him and he knelt down to me. I hurriedly helped him up and asked him what had happened. It turns out that his big brother was defeated by me before. When he went back, he was punished by the Kunxian sect and had his guardian beast taken away. He said that if I didn't go, they would forcibly remove his brother and the beast. I know that forcibly lifting the contract may endanger lives, but I don't understand why I have to be named specifically to go. He explained that it was because his older brother lost to me in a competition. Xiaolan, a senior sister from Kunxian sect, said he lost face for Kunxian sect. I didn't expect that Xia Gang would want to harm others over such a small matter. Jin Xian secretly thought of getting rid of me through Xiaolan, but all his little schemes were seen through by Xiao Jiu. After that, I hurried to the conference hall of the Kunxian faction. Xiao Jiu advised me not to meddle in other people's business. I think he has a good attitude of admitting mistakes and is not unforgivable. If it's you, Xiao Jie, who has been detained, I will come to rescue you even if it means crawling. Hearing this, Xiao Jie felt a warm feeling in her heart. Just then, Xiagang walked out of the council chamber. You are Xiagang's senior sister, right? I am the person you are looking for. Give the monster back to its owner. Xia Gang didn't actually seek me out. All of this was orchestrated by Jin Xian. Who gave you the confidence to come to Kunxian and cause trouble? I bring up the Academy's rules and regulations that prohibit the use of private punishment. Since you are talking to me about rules, let's settle this according to the rules of the Academy. Shortly after, she mentioned a duel to me. Without much thought, I agreed. She raised her hand and gathered spiritual energy into a vortex. The next moment, she summoned her guardian spirit beast, three-legged golden crow. This all-black crow possesses a divine-graded ancient bloodline. It let out a stunning howl to the sky, bursting with an astonishing momentum. Xiaojio also began transmitting spiritual power into my body from behind. I didn't expect a Foundation establishment stage disciple to have such a rich spiritual energy, but the outcome of this duel has already been decided. When she attacked, I used the technique Ling Curse, but I didn't expect that she would have the power of thunder in her palms. I quickly dodged. But after the first miss, she continuously struck with multiple thunder attacks. I was hit without any means of fighting back, and could only keep dodging. I spotted an opening and immediately performed the leg wind spell, sending a gust of wind towards her feet. But she easily dodged it. However, the wind has tracking capabilities and attacked her again. Sanzu Quanwu stepped in and blocked the blow. When she looked up again, she realized that I had disappeared from her sight. Suddenly she felt a chill down her back. I cast the ice spell behind her, attacking her back. Jinwu hurriedly grabbed her shoulder and flew into the air. This saved her from a serious injury. Can't play around with this for real. Then, she commands her demon beast to rain down countless fire feathers from the sky. I see myself squatting on the ground, thumbs touching the ground. And in an instant, a protective shield forms, separated all the fire feathers to the outside. My black phoenix fire feathers can penetrate mountains and break iron. Your measly two are useless. Said that again and increased the firepower of my black phoenix. My protective shield was also broken by the fire feathers. At a crucial moment, Xiaojio stepped forward to block the fire feathers again. But my low cultivation may also suppress Xiaojio's strength. Soon she won't be able to resist. Xiaojio shouted for me to retreat and find a way. How could I leave Xiaojio behind in this situation? She turned and hugged me, then leaped backward. The position where I was just standing was blown to pieces in the next second. Xiaojio, suppressed by the dryness, wanted to lend me his power for a brief burst of the strongest ability. I was about to say something, but Xiaojio loudly told me to shut up. I guess some of you may not like the next scene. But this also infuriated the opponent, who is also single, and they shot countless flaming feathers at us. At this point, Xiaojio has also exhausted her spiritual power. I quickly asked her to step back while triggering the formation with my palm. The next second, the ice pillars I summoned met the overwhelming flaming feathers, and the hard surface of the ice pillar flicks away these fire feathers. Xiao Lan can't figure out how I suddenly erupted with spiritual power comparable to the Yuaning realm. I took advantage of this gap and jumped onto the ice pillar, charging towards her. At a glance, she wanted to catch up with the divine beast under her feet just with an ice pillar. She couldn't help but find it funny and began to climb upward to shake me off. I didn't notice that I had summoned another ice pillar to freeze her monster. While she was stunned, I had already come behind her and released the mysterious ice. At such a close distance, she had no time to dodge. I only heard her shout and retreat backwards. But after waiting for a long time, I didn't feel any abnormality in my body. What the heck? She opened her eyes to see what was going on. To her surprise, I had already put an icicle against her throat. Helpless, she had to admit defeat. Seeing me victorious, Xiaojio was also delighted. The scene shifted to the infirmary at the academy. Xiao Lan also came to apologize to her cousin as agreed. Cousin was puzzled by how quickly her attitude had changed. So he asked her about the reason for this. Xiao Lan then recounted to her cousin how I defeated her. He was shocked that even junior sister Xiao Lan, who possesses divine beasts, was defeated by me. Yeah, this may be the way the wind blows. But thinking back, it's been a long time since I've seen someone like him. He actually challenged himself for an enemy, and treated his guardian beast with such sincerity. Then they bid farewell to each other. Jean Lei, who eavesdropped outside the window, initially wanted to use Xia Gang to deal with me. When he found out that we had already reconciled, he was very upset. The little troublemaker next to him said that the Immortal Gate meeting will be held at our school soon. Are you still worried about not having a chance to cause trouble? He secretly resolved to turn Xiaojio into his plaything. Time quickly came to the start of the Immortal Gate conference. Suddenly, a teleportation array appeared above the square. Following that, a group of disciples dressed in red flew out from it. They are the leaders of the previous conference, the sect. After landing, they first greeted the dean and the elders. The dean looked at this senior disciple from the Great White Sect and couldn't help but sigh in admiration. Just as they were talking, another large ship emerged from the teleportation gate they had just requested. It was the sect leader of the Great White Sect leading a group of participating disciples. After the ship came out, it hovered imposingly over the central square. The disciples in the courtyard began to discuss how much spiritual power it would take to fly such a long distance. I heard that Chan Baizong specializes in recruiting talented individuals and gifted geniuses. The elders asked how many people came and inquired about their accommodation. They didn't expect that these people would eat and stay on this floating boat. It is clear that they are dissatisfied with the small rooms in the academy, and they are even guarding their food. Moreover, such a large boat is parked right over the academy, which is truly outrageous. 2 portals were opened in the air at this moment. First, it was the High-Lan Academy with a group of female disciples, and they even brought a giant. Following that was the Chu-Chu Valley Academy in black. Elder Chang'an was then assigned to take care of the disciples of other academies to prevent clashes. I couldn't squeeze in with Shijio, and had to watch the fun from the sidelines. Shi told Xiaojio that the Immortal Gate Conference was originally a triennial event in the Immortal Realm. But it has been turned into a competition for new disciples by various academies. Xiaojio leaned in and asked me if I would participate in the competition, but the participants representing the academies are all top disciples. You even defeated Xiaolan, isn't that considered top-notch? I'm telling you, you are. Xiaojio's intimate gesture made my little face turn red. Unconsciously, I remembered how Xiaojio transferred spiritual power to me in that way, so I asked her if she understood the meaning of kissing. This question left her speechless. I explained to her that kissing the person you like is okay for girls. Then suddenly 2 female disciples came to find me. It turned out that my defeating senior brothers and sisters had spread. So these female disciples came to ask me to teach them the practice. Xiaojio just gave a slight smile and quietly stepped back to make room for them. But it made Qin Yurong feel embarrassed. She threatened to go tell the mentor that their behavior was unacceptable. Zhou Mengmeng stopped her and asked if she had liked me from the beginning. This caused her to hurriedly turn around and deny it. Mengmeng then told her that if you like someone, you have to speak up, or else you will be snatched away. At this moment, the fashion instructor stepped forward to stop everyone. They turned around and saw the handsome and charming fashion instructor. Immediately, they crowded around the fashion instructor. Just as I was about to catch my breath, Master Shang came over to praise me for consecutively defeating my senior martial siblings, which is quite rare. When leaving, he emphasized the rules of the academy to me again. But I didn't notice that he looked at Xiaojio with a strange look in his eyes. The disciple immediately reported to senior martial brother that I am the one with a humanoid monster beast form. In an instant, he also developed a strong interest in Xiaojio. When Xiaojio was playing with me, he already noticed that a disciple of the Changbai sect was staring at him. Soon after, they left the square under the guidance of their mentor. Qin Yurong stepped forward and said it was fortunate that Master Shang appeared, or else who knows until when those girls would have caused trouble. Then I asked her if all the girls like Shang, the mature teacher. Upon hearing that, she started to grind her teeth and speak angrily. The next moment, she punched me and sent me flying far away. After I came back, I entered the library to seek some books about Gon, the fox demon. I learned from a book that fox demons are foxes who have cultivated into spirits. They often use their abilities to bewitch people, appearing as enchanting women, and so on. The Beast and the Demon Beast records are very captivating, aren't they? I was nearly scared out of my wits. Shang Mentor said he was also here to find books, and then prepared to leave. I hurried forward to say that I have a question to ask. What would be the impact if there is an emotional bond between humans and monsters? We have always advocated for mutual sincerity and kindness between humans and monsters, and the impact must be positive. Then he narrowed his eyes and paused for a moment. Some monsters may be close to humans only to acquire spiritual resources for cultivation. After speaking, he got up and left. Now I feel very confused and uncomfortable. Could it be that Xiaojio is only close to me to gain spiritual energy? The next day in class, the teacher assigned a homework to write a composition describing one's own guardian beast. This assignment seems simple for everyone, but I see Xiaojio struggling with it. Come to think of it, I might not know Xiaojio very well. Xiaojio told me that no matter what, she would tell me when we got back. Qin Yurong feels something is wrong with the intimacy between Xiaojio and me. I am getting ready to do the homework left by the mentor at night. Certainly, I have to start by describing the appearance of the monster, protruding at the front and curling up at the back. How am I supposed to write like this? Xiaojio noticed that I was looking at her. Gon came to me and asked if I needed help. Then there is a figure trembling outside the window. It turns out that Qin Yurong insisted on calling Zhou Mengmeng to the boys' dormitory. It's not good for the two of us girls to come here to watch in the dormitory late at night, right? How can this be called peeping? It's obviously secret protection. No, it's too far to see clearly. I need to get closer. As he spoke, he pasted an invisibility charm on his forehead, then stripped off all his clothes. Ready to go in and catch Xiaojio violating school rules. Xiaojio saw that I was unable to write, so she suggested measuring with a ruler. Hearing Xiaojio's words, my mind started to wander. No need, just tell me how much to write. At this time, Qin Yurong also successfully entered my room, and I also wrote about the preferences of the guardian beasts. Xiaojio said she likes desserts, but what she likes most is me. Qin Yurong, who was beside us, was shocked to hear this, and I was at a loss for words after hearing this. Although after I woke up, this world was not as good as it used to be. Now I understand that Xiaojio simply likes her contractor. The next question is about the weakness of the protected demonic beast. Xiaojiu told me she has no weaknesses. In this era of declining spiritual energy, she can be considered invincible. Xiaojiu got a bit upset when she saw that I didn't believe her. I explained that I believe in her strength, but it's better to be cautious. Beside me, Qin Yurong thought it would be useful to listen in. Suddenly, I remembered that there was a book that mentioned the weaknesses of the Fox clan. I walked straight toward the bookshelf behind Qin Yurong. I was very anxious about the imminent collision with her. Just as I was about to touch her, Xiaojiu suddenly called me to check if she had written the name correctly. This gave Qin Yurong time to react and dodge. After seeing me coming over, she said that with my hard work, I could definitely become Daluo. Although with Xiaojiu's help, I have improved a lot during this time. But I know it's far from enough. If I start the fight with my ultimate move against Senior Xia Gang, I won't stand a chance. I must improve as soon as possible in order to protect Little Nine. Little Nine seemed to ask if I meant to protect myself. I firmly replied that I will protect Little Nine with my own strength. She felt ridiculous, but still warmth rose in her heart. And at this moment, in the courtyard of the mentor's dormitory in the academy, a girl is confessing passionately to a person in front of her, and this person is the mentor, and he did not reject the girl. The girl then rushed into his arms and said she could do anything for him. Master Shang's expression suddenly changed. In a second, he took out 3 silver needles. The next day, inside a large tree in the forest, the girl from yesterday was quietly lying inside. Soon after, the Kunxian faction learned of the situation. The incident of disciples practicing and falling into madness has occurred again. There have been 3 incidents this year already. This time, it was a disciple from the Yuan Yaoqi period. She was found by disciples practicing under the tree. She is not in any danger, but thousands of wood-based spiritual energy in her body have been consumed. Could it be that she wants to use the challenge to the door tournament? No, wood magic is not an aggressive spell. From the feedback, it seems that the spiritual power she released far exceeds the Yuaning. Now is the time for the college to host the door tournament. Let Xia Gang take care of the security work. A few days later, it was the day the Immortal Gate Conference started. The elders announced the start of the first competition in front of a stele, and introduced the examiner of this competition, General Yuan Shaw of the Royal Celestial Division. He explained the rules who can use spiritual power to raise the flames in the crystal to the highest level. Then, who will be the first to come up? No one wanted to go on stage first. At this moment, Li Yan gestured to his junior martial brother. Understanding his intention, the junior martial brother stepped forward to take on the challenge. He approached the crystal and focused his energy. He then infused all the spiritual energy of his body into it, but the flames inside were still. It was then announced that his battle failed. Next, at Haon Academy, Xiaodong's battle failed. Just as the general said that the disciples of the immortal world are not as good as they used to be, Qin Yurong raised her hand to step forward for the battle. She raised her hand and summoned her guardian beast by its true name. Then she infused her spiritual power into the crystal along with the beast. The next moment, the flames in the crystal reached their peak instantly. Those of us in the audience cheered for her. The general also smiled in satisfaction. Other disciples from the same school started shouting as soon as they saw it, and put up a collective cheer. So that's how it is. Then he also came up to participate in the challenge. Black. This is the top disciple of the Changbai sect, who has reached the stage of nirvana despite being so young. Then, as expected, he raised the flame to its peak. Zhou Mengmeng, who can see through everything, said that it looks like a fire control test. But in fact, it is testing everyone's meticulous control of spiritual power. Certainly, there are advanced formations affecting the transmission of spiritual power. After carefully examining the crystal for a while, Xiaojiu turned his head and smiled at me. General saw that Li Yan's flame was even more vigorous and was about to announce the result of the competition. The elder asked him not to be hasty and said that there might be other disciples to come on stage. Is there anyone else? He thought that the first round must not be given to Changbai sect. Why haven't Xiaolan and Mu Qintong appeared? At this moment, I raised my hand and walked out of the crowd, wanting to participate as well. Upon seeing me, everyone recognized me as the wastrel who almost got expelled. When passing by Li Yan, he cheered me on. And he meaningfully stared at Xiaojiu. I can see that someone has already set their sights on Xiaojiu. It doesn't feel right. After coming on stage, I introduced Xiaojiu as my true name guardian. It's my first time seeing a humanoid guardian beast. Let's begin. General, may I freely choose the position of the crystal column? Of course you can. As I started to study the crystal carefully, People from the Changbai sect thought that I was being mysterious. People from the academy also couldn't understand my actions. Only Zhou Mengmeng seemed to have noticed some clues. But I will tell the general that I have chosen a location soon. In the position I chose, I wondered if this child had already seen through the barrier. Later, I started to mobilize my spiritual power and gathered it in front of my chest. Before going on stage, Xiaojiu said she could help me pass the test, but I refused. I said I wanted to try my best by my own strength. After hearing this, she smiled with relief. I slowly infused my spiritual power into the crystal, causing the flames inside to burst out directly from the crystal. It was almost twice as big as Li Yan's before, but soon my hand formula started to change, and I cast the profound ice formula at the crystal. The flames of the entire crystal instantly turned into ice. The general was also surprised by the seeing of the elemental transformation. How did he turn the raging fire into ice? Zhou Mengmeng explained that a high-level magic array had been set in front of the crystal. Only with precise control of spiritual energy can one pass through these densely packed. But the formation is only set up on the front of the crystal. You can access the interior from the back. Due to the placement of the stakes, many people instinctively think they can only pick from the front. They didn't expect that I could control elemental transformations so quickly. Xiaojiu saw my success and rushed over to hug me. You kissed me on the face. The Fengtian Academy is truly a hidden dragon and crouching tiger. Then the general explained the principle of the crystal column to everyone. And in the first round, Fengtian Academy emerged victorious. As night falls, Xiao Lan patrols the academy alone. Just when I thought there shouldn't be any anomalies approaching midnight, a dark figure suddenly flashed from behind her. Before she had a chance to react, a punch came flying at her, only to see a massively built person emerge from the darkness. And the head of the college, Xiao Lan, was suddenly ambushed during her patrol today. I looked up and saw Jean Lei, who I had grown up with since childhood. But at this moment, Jean Lei seemed to want to kill her. Just then, Xiaojiu and I arrived and stopped them. I saw that Jean Lei, who should have been recovering from his injuries, had turned into this state. Xiaojiu held me back, saying that there was a strong evil aura around him and that I shouldn't approach him easily. Since you're here, be prepared to die together. Let's go. But Jean Lei grabbed her by the hair. He then flung her more than 10 meters away. I hurried forward and caught her. But she pushed me away and urged me to leave. We are no match for him. As we watched Jean Lei approaching step by step, Xiaojiu rushed out to prepare to make a move, but suddenly sensed spiritual power fluctuations behind us. It turned out that Mu Qingtong, the head of Qualification sect, was behind us, preparing sealing spells. Then a golden dragon burst out from the magic array, soaring over and directly attacking Jean Lei. Then she drew 2 swords and followed closely behind the golden dragon. In the blink of an eye, she had already struck dozens of times, and finally landed perfectly behind Jean Lei. At this time, he and his guardian demon beast can only stand still and cannot move. Mu Qingxiang turned around and struck a palm behind him. As a wisp of devil energy was drawn out from his body, both the person and the beast lost consciousness and fell to the ground. This seamless operation surprised me. After she dealt with Jean Lei, she came to us and inquired about Xiao Lan's situation. At this point, Xia Gang has not yet regained consciousness from the coma. It is really embarrassing for a junior disciple who has just entered the devil path to be so badly defeated. Senior sister, you have misunderstood. Xia Gang's injuries were inflicted because senior sister couldn't bear to use lethal moves. Showing mercy in the face of the enemy is foolishness. And then he asked me why Xiaojiu, and I came here in the middle of the night. So I explained that my place is not far from here. Xiaojiu sensed unusual spiritual energy here, so she rushed over. It was only then that Mu Qingtong began to carefully study Xiaojiu. You must be Xiaojiu. I have heard of you. You are a rare humanoid demon. Do you know anything about Guan? Xiaojiu looked at Jean Lei on the ground. There was a moment of silence, then she slowly closed her eyes. She made a lovely expression and said she didn't know anything. They did not know that someone had been observing them from the tree behind for a long time. He is Li Yan, the chief disciple of the Changbai sect. The next day, he took Jean Lei to the infirmary. He said that Jean Lei's condition was similar to that of the disciple who had gone mad before. It's just too coincidental that they all went mad. It seems that someone has used forbidden techniques to unleash the potential of these people. Xiaolan, it seems like we have to quickly find out who is behind this. At this moment, Xia Gang suddenly stood up and slammed the table, shouting that he would definitely find that person. Then he stormed out of the door. Mu Qingtong didn't understand why she was in such a mood at this time. The doctor told her that the Xia family and the Jean family are old friends. Xia Lan's senior sister and Jean Lei grew up together since they were young. When she heard this, she finally understood. One's own people can bully themselves, but if others dare to bully, it's rebellion. When Xiaojiu and I were strolling, we happened to see Senior Xiao Lan walking towards us, but when I greeted her, it was as if she didn't see me. Just as I was wondering who had angered her, I turned around and saw Li Yan again. Other people's spirit guardians are all mythical creatures. I am a fox spirit in human form. And she, the ancient demon queen who was sealed, was accidentally summoned by me. Taking advantage of her just awakening and unstable original power, I signed a master-servant contract with her. Afterwards, she found that the heavenly spirit root within me could help her restore her cultivation. She agreed to become my lifelong protector and spirit beast. But now Xiaojiu has been targeted by the chief disciple of Changbai sect. As a humanoid spirit beast, she is a rare item. He wants to buy Xiaojiu. I saw this and quickly stepped in front of him. I've heard that Changbai sect likes to collect spirit beasts from all over the world and cruelly refine them using secret methods. Xiaojiu has signed her own life and death contract. You can't get her attention. Junior Lin, you're overreacting. I was just asking in advance. I'm afraid that in a few days you'll be begging me to take her. His inexplicable words made me feel very uncomfortable. I grabbed his hand and demanded that he explain himself before leaving, but I didn't expect him to throw a punch at me directly. The disciples of Changbai sect behind immediately rushed over to help when they saw it. I made them see clearly that it was Li Yan who made the first move, and the people from the Fengtian Academy also rushed over when they saw it. For a moment, the situation was on the verge of breaking out. Fortunately, the elders of the academy arrived in time to stop the farce. And let's clear the way for the examiner in charge of the second trial today. Her name is Zhu Hongyu, the chief officer of the Royal Beast Park. Youth is indeed energetic. The scent of vigorous energy is quite good. I'm already looking forward to today's trial. Then he called Elder Jean and left. As he left, he warned us not to cause any more trouble. As for me, I made an appointment with Li Yan at the training ground. The next day, when the trial was about to begin, the dean of our college first came on stage and bowed to the two of them. In addition, President Yang Dichen of the Yogu Academy. At this moment, the appearance of Li Buxian, the patriarch of the Changbai sect, interrupted their conversation. Elder Patriarch. Li Buxian walked straight to them and sat down, then inquired about the content of today's trial. The president told him that today's test is the guardian beast of destiny. The royal family attaches great importance to this immortal sect general assembly. They even managed to invite the elusive Zhuzheng. Zhuzheng, as the gatekeeper, should ensure the fairness of today's trial without question. Once Zhuzheng took the stage, she began forming hand seals. The next moment, a barrier appeared directly above her head, enveloped the entire competition venue, then announced that the two sides of the competition will send the guardian beast into the barrier for a battle. If one side surrenders or becomes unable to fight, it is considered a failure. Every two pros have a pair of identical numbers. The two people with the same number form a pair for the battle. I took a look and found out that I was also born on the 11th. I wonder how that Li Yan is doing. I told Xiaojiu to be extra careful. After hearing this, Xiaojiu hugged me and asked if I was nervous. Blushing, I answered her. To my surprise, she patted my head to comfort me. Li Yan on the side saw and smirked evilly. Soon after the match began, Zhou Mengmeng took the stage. Her guardian beast's strength was incredibly formidable. She easily secured victory. Then it was Qin Yurong's turn. In no time, we achieved victory. As Little Nine was about to go on stage, my heart was racing. Little Nine assured me that there was no monster here that could match her. No sooner had she said that, Zhu Xijin called for number 11 to take the stage. Upon hearing this, Little Nine grabbed me and headed for the stage. I wanted to see who my opponent was. But then I saw Li Yan handing something to his junior fellow apprentice, and urging him to take the stage. Finally, he flashed me a sly smile. And I immediately sensed that something was wrong. The dry person-shaped demon is indeed rare. The examiner asked to verify the contract seal, so I displayed my contract with Xiaojiu. Before the match, the examiner teased Xiaojiu, saying that your opponent this time is not simple. After speaking, he asked Xiaojiu to get ready to fight. As soon as she stepped into the barrier with one foot, a white giant ape inside held skyward after waiting for a long time. At a glance, I recognized it as the Changbai snow ape. Legend has it that this rare spirit beast of Changbai Mountain is known as the mountain god by the world. Qin Yurong felt that the power gap between Xiaojiu and it was too large and quickly decided to admit defeat. The examiner turned to ask for my opinion. Are you sure you want to admit defeat? At this point, Xiaojiu called my name, and turned around to tell me not to worry. As Zong's disciple was being ignored, he ordered the attack on Xue Yuan. Xue Yuan, upon receiving the order, suddenly became even more imposing than before. Xiaojiu, however, just complained about its bad breath, wondering when was the last time it brushed its teeth. In the next second, Xue Yuan soared into the air and leapt onto Xiaojiu's head. Gathering all its strength, it smashed down towards Xiaojiu, but Xiaojiu simply reached out slowly and grabbed its fist. The slender little hand could only grasp one of Xue Yuan's fingers. But soon, Xu Yuan's expression became unbelievably pained, because its large body was easily thrown around on stage by Shijio. The people below couldn't believe what they were seeing. Even the snow ape couldn't believe it. It stood up and yelled at Shijio. Feeling that it was too noisy, Xiaojiu fed it its favorite food, a big mouthful. With a slap, the snow ape instantly lost consciousness. Then he collapsed on the stage. And his master Kong Ping was also affected by the backlash of the protective demon beast. The leader of Changbai sect was furious, and said that this must be an evil spell, and ordered to capture Xiaojiu immediately. The disciples of Changbai sect received the order and began to prepare to go on stage, and when we saw it at our institute, we rushed to the stage. I told Xiaojiu not to be afraid and took her away. But the barrier on the stage had already closed, and no one could enter or exit. I asked Xiaojiu to stay inside and not come out. I would not let anyone hurt her. Examiner Zhu Si, upon seeing this, hurriedly jumped to the front of the competition stage. He reached out and asked the disciples of Changbai sect what they wanted to do. Zhu Sijing, a monster injured our sect's disciple. Don't you care? I haven't made a decision on the outcome of the competition. Do you want to rebel? I hurried to the front and said that I had just checked Kong Peng's injuries. He was only affected by the connection to the consciousness of the guardian beast, and there was no danger to his life. The difference in strength between a protector beast and its owner cannot exceed 2 levels. You, a newcomer to the Foundation establishment stage, how do you have combat power equivalent to a divine-level monster? Either you are hiding your true strength, or your monster is using forbidden techniques. Then he challenged me to a battle to prove whether I was hiding anything. Suddenly, a powerful aura separated the two of us. Zhu Sijing said that if you don't step down, he will cancel the qualifications of both sides in the competition. Our dean also came to persuade the Changelzamain to believe Zhu Sijing's absurd decision. Absurd. She, a woman who only knows about breeding demonic beasts in the Deep Palace. How could she know about the dangers of the world? Then he disappeared from between the eyes and reappeared in the original place. He jumped directly onto the competition stage, and released a strong momentum to drive back the crowd. What is your intention? He said that our academy has a monster causing trouble in the Immortal Gate Conference, so we need to preside over it ourselves. From my many years of experience, it should be a deer with such ability. Zhu Sijing repeatedly sided with the ancestors. Is he allowing the monsters to continue to harm the people? I hurriedly stood up and said that I could guarantee that Xiaojiu is definitely not a demon. The former sect master was even more angry at being interrupted by a junior. Just a glance sent me flying out. Then fell off the stage and lost consciousness. Xiaojiu saw, worriedly shouted my name. I held on and raised my hand to tell her that I was okay and not to come out. Master, is the Changbai sect trying to provoke a conflict with the imperial family? Zhu Sijing, are you trying to go against the entire world of cultivation? Even the head of the Changbai sect disregards the pressure from the royal family in order to take Little Nine. People from our academy mock the Changbai sect for being unable to accept defeat. The Changbai sect, on the other hand, argues that it was our academy that allowed the demons to participate in the competition. Xiaojiu heard the people outside the barrier cursing at her, which reminded her of memories from 1,000 years ago. The scene then and now are so similar. Outside, the air was also filled with unpleasant curses, calling her a monster. A man had closed the door, telling her not to come out. Xiaojiu here kept saying that she wasn't a monster. Tears also slid down her cheeks to the ground. The next second, Xiaojiu lost control of her emotions and began to burst with surging spiritual energy. I saw this and quickly stood up and ran towards her, telling her that everything was fine and not to be afraid. Zongzhu took the opportunity to say that the demon has gone out of control, and to quickly capture it. The people of Changbai Zone began to run towards me after hearing this. When the people from the academy saw this, they also rushed forward to block it. Suddenly, the sky turned blood red. A blood claw emerged from a black vortex. It turned out that Zhu Sijing, as the referee, summoned his guardian beast. Anyone who tries to disturb the trial today will have to deal with me, Zhu Hongyu. Since Zhu Sijing is obsessed, don't blame me for offending you. I will make amends to the emperor in the future. Just as the two were about to start, the sect leader's spell was dispelled by a palm. I looked up and saw our college's dean coming forward to mediate. He explained that it was a small secret from our college that had caused such a big misunderstanding. Zhu Sijing asked the dean what the secret was about. Zhuyo is the divine beast guarding the secret realm of our college. By a stroke of luck, he chose this newly ascended disciple. Old fox, you must not believe in these baseless excuses. Even a 3-year-old wouldn't buy it. I know you're anxious, but you don't need to rush. It's because the gap between the master and the contracted beast shouldn't be too large. But if it's a divine-level monster that actively forms a contract, it can ignore the level limit. Moreover, this disciple has suffered no harm after contracting, indicating that his bloodline and talent are extraordinary. After Zuzizeng heard this, he hurriedly helped the dean cover up this lie. I didn't expect that Fengtian Academy would have such an opportunity. In the future, remember to report to the Royal Beast Control Office. Looking at the two people singing in harmony, it really angered the old patriarch. Then he signaled to Li Yan behind him with his eyes. Even if it's a divine beast, if its owner can't control it, and it accidentally harms others, how can we go along with it? We absolutely cannot let Xiao Jiu out. The people from Changbai sect also echoed the sentiment, insisting not to let Xiao Jiu out. The dean came over and gestured everyone to calm down. I tried telling the dean, but it seems like Xiao Jiu can't hear her own voice now. Dean stepped forward and channeled his spiritual energy into me. Tell me that the human and the guardian beast are one and the same. Don't use your voice. Communicate with your heart. With the dean's spiritual guidance, I finally sensed a small area within the boundaries. Then he ignored the boundary and walked towards Xiao Jiu. The dean also unconsciously let go of the hand on my shoulder. Seeing me cross her barrier, Xu Si was greatly surprised. Even the leader of Changbai sect would find it difficult to break the barrier. I crossed the barrier forcefully, but Xiao Jiu's spiritual power still held me back. I used the method taught by the dean to reassure Xiao Jiu that everything was fine, and the belonging in Xiaojiamen slowly opens. The man who returned earlier told her that it was okay. Xiao Jiu woke up from her loss of control. I told her that no matter what happens, I will never abandon her. After hearing this, she couldn't stop her tears. Thank you. Finally dispersed all the burst spiritual energy. I slumped on top of my body. The written test a few days later made Qinyurong very angry. What does the Immortal Conference have to do with written tests? It should be a real competition. The previous issue was resolved under the mediation of the dean. After returning, Xiao Jiu hasn't spoken a word and just sat there. She doesn't seem as confident and lively as before. What is she thinking? Could she be the ancient demon king? Now I've fallen to the point of being captured for dual cultivation by humans, yet as her master, I can only watch helplessly. Originally, Xiao Jiu was just in a bad mood tonight, planning to go out alone to clear her mind. No matter what, she wouldn't let me go with her. I've been with Xiao Jiu for so long, but she's unwilling to share her worries with me. It's inevitable to feel a little down. Qinyurong stepped forward to comfort me, saying that although Xiao Jiu is a monster, she's also a girl who has those days every month. When Xiao Jiu walks alone on the forest path, suddenly, a few peach blossoms drifted down from the sky. It couldn't help but remind her of her childhood, when she cried loudly under the tree because she was hungry and had no food to eat. At this moment, a man came and asked her where her family was gone. Xiao Jiu cried and told him that her mother was gone. The man reached out his hand to lead Xiao Jiu away. Having nowhere else to go, Xiao Jiu agreed to follow the man. After telling him her name, Xiao Jiu asked for his. The man told Xiao Jiu that others called him Shengfeichen. You can call me father. As little Nine reminisced about the past while looking at the peach blossoms, she suddenly heard someone approaching from behind. Turning around, she saw that it was the mentor Shang Feng from the academy. Why hasn't your master been seen? He's preparing for tomorrow's written exam. I hope your master can perform at the Fengtian Academy tomorrow. Just as Shangfeng was about to leave, Xiao Jiu asked if it was you who caused the previous students to get possessed. Shifeng stopped in his tracks, his heart trembling. What are you talking about? I don't understand. No matter how well hidden, the smell of the low-level spirit beast cannot be concealed. When he heard Xiao Jiu say that his spirit beast was low-level, he immediately flew into a rage. You used some method to push those students' spiritual power to the limit, and then used the spirit beast to devour their spiritual power. Even though the spirit beast can mutually complement its owner's rest, improper cultivation may result in severe backlash. Have you told your master about my matter? But if you dare to harm him, I will make sure you perish immediately. Shangfeng was taken aback at Xiao Jiu's burst of spiritual power. Then, as if understanding something, he smiled slightly. Why would I easily let go of Xiao Jiu now that my secrets have been exposed? But in the eyes of this demon king, Shang Feng is simply not worthy. With just a flick of his finger, he broke through Shang Feng's attack. But when the two spiritual forces collided, they produced a burst of smoke that enveloped Xiao Jiu. Xiao Jiu also accidentally inhaled some smoke due to underestimating the enemy. Shang Feng seized the opportunity to draw his sword and stab. Xiao Jiu easily dodged with a quick move. Shang Feng then threw several flying knives. But to Xiao Jiu, these attacks were simply boring beyond belief. So she waved her hand and dispersed the smoke around her. But when she saw the smoke behind her, she was shocked. I stood there dumbfounded and asked them what was wrong. Shang Feng smirked. Then he came straight at me. Xiao Jiu saw that I was in danger and hurried to protect me. The two rushed to the front at the same time. In the next second, the two collided again. Xiao Jiu easily pushed Shang Feng back. and then she turned around and asked loudly why I was here. Suddenly, she fell to the ground with a splitting headache. Huofeng saw his plan and couldn't help but sneer. This is a potion that I have refined over many years. It's not in the same league as what you knew in ancient times. Xiaojiao wanted to resist, but her body could no longer support her to stand up. The more you resist, the faster the drugs will erode your meridians. Just go to sleep obediently. Finally, Xiaojiao couldn't hold on and fell into Xiangfeng's arms.